All right, let's get ready to dive deep into real estate investing. And we're going to be taking a cue from Riqueza Vital. They've got this YouTube video that breaks it all down. Now, I know what you might be thinking, YouTube for financial advice. But trust me, this channel has got some really solid information.
Yeah, it's really interesting how people are turning to these non-traditional sources these days.
Yeah.
For financial advice. And I think it just goes to show that knowledge is becoming more and more accessible.
Absolutely. So this video dives deep into real estate as a wealth building tool. And the cool thing is it's not just about buying those rental properties. We're talking flipping houses, we're talking rentals, Airbnbs, micro remodels, build to rent, and even these things called REITs. Like there are so many options out there.
Yeah, there really are a lot of different ways to get involved in real estate these days.
Yeah.
And it makes sense why it's so appealing to so many people. It's a tangible asset, right? You're investing in something real, something concrete, unlike stocks or bonds, which can feel a bit abstract.
Right. You're not just buying a piece of paper. You're actually investing in brick and mortar. And the video really highlights that potential for income. I think it thinks those rent checks, but also appreciation.
Exactly. It's that combination of potential income and potential growth that makes real estate so attractive.
Okay, so let's talk about those REITs. I gotta be honest, they sound intriguing, but they also sound a bit mysterious. Can you break those down for us? I have a feeling they might be perfect for someone who isn't quite ready to buy a whole property just yet.
Yeah, you're spot on. REITs, or real estate investment trusts, are basically companies that own, operate, or finance income-generating real estate. So it's like investing in real estate without actually having to go out and buy a property yourself. Think of it this way. Imagine pooling your money with others to buy a big office building or a shopping mall. It's kind of what a REIT does, but on a much larger scale, and it's professionally managed and offers you diversification.
Diversification, meaning you're spreading your risk across different types of properties.
Exactly. And there are different types of REITs to consider as well. You've got your residential REITs that focus on housing. You've got commercial REITs that invest in things like office buildings and shopping centers. And then you have your mortgage REITs, which are a little bit different.
Mortgage REITs. Okay, now you've got me hooked. How are those different from just like investing in mortgages directly?
That's a good question. So mortgage REITs invest in mortgage-backed securities. These are basically bundles of mortgages that are pooled together. And investors, including these REITs, can buy pieces of that bundle.
So like buying a slice of the overall mortgage market.
Exactly. It's a bit like investing in bonds. But instead of lending money to a government or a company, you're essentially lending money to homeowners through their mortgages.
Okay, that makes sense. But it also reminds me of all those scary stories we heard about mortgage-backed securities during the 2008 financial crisis.
You're right. Those complex mortgage investments did play a role in the crisis. But it's important to remember that there are different types of mortgage-backed securities, and regulations have been put in place to try to make them safer.
Okay, that's reassuring. So for our listeners out there, the key takeaway here is that there's a whole spectrum of real estate investment options. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, there's literally something for everyone.
Absolutely. And that's what I think is so great about this YouTube video. It really emphasizes the importance of understanding those fundamentals before you jump in.
Fundamentals like ROI, cash flow, and financing options.
Exactly. You need to make sure that the numbers make sense. What's your potential return on investment? How much cash will this investment generate? Can you actually secure the necessary financing? These are all critical questions you need to ask yourself before making any decisions.
And don't forget about location, location, location. The video really hammers home the importance of choosing your market wisely.
Well, absolutely. It's all about finding those areas where property values are on the rise, whether that's a bustling city center or an up-and-coming neighborhood. And of course, you need to consider your own personal risk tolerance as well.
It's like choosing your own adventure, right? High growth areas can offer those big rewards, but they might come with more risk, while those more established markets could be a little bit more stable, but they might offer slower growth. So listener, are you a risk taker, or do you prefer to play it safe?
That's a good question to ask yourself, for sure. And once you've got a location in mind, it's all about evaluating those potential properties.
And this is where the due diligence comes in, right? You don't want to just fall in love with the granite countertops and call it a day.
You got it. It's about looking beyond the surface. Use analytics, pore over those property reports. Consider factors like the local economy, the potential for growth, even things like school quality, if you're thinking about rentals. The more information you have, the better decision you're going to be able to make.
And speaking of information, the video also covers financing options. And I gotta say, I was intrigued by the mention of crowdfunding. Help me out here. Are we talking about like pooling money with friends to buy a timeshare?
Not quite. Crowdfunding for real estate allows individuals to invest in much larger projects with smaller amounts of capital. So imagine pooling your money with others to develop an apartment building or to buy a commercial property. It's a way to access investments that might be out of reach individually.
So like becoming a mini developer without needing millions of dollars up front? That's pretty cool. But I imagine it also comes with its own set of risks.
You're right. As with any investment, there are risks involved. It's crucial to do your research, understand the project you're investing in, and carefully evaluate that platform and the people you're investing with.
And on top of crowdfunding, the video also mentions other options like multiple mortgages, which I'm guessing is just what it sounds like, taking out loans on multiple properties.
You got it. It can be a way to leverage your investments and potentially amplify your returns. But it also comes with added risk and responsibility.
And then there are renovation loans, specifically for fixing up properties. And opportunity zones, which are?
Opportunity zones are economically disadvantaged communities where new investments are incentivized through tax benefits. It's a way to encourage revitalization and economic growth in these areas, while potentially offering attractive returns for investors.
Okay, so we've got a lot to consider when it comes to financing, but the key is that there are options out there. You just got to figure out which ones align with your goals and your comfort level.
Precisely. And remember, real estate investing is a journey, not a sprint. This YouTube video provides a great foundation, but it's just the beginning.
Now we're getting to the good stuff. What comes next on this real estate adventure?
So you want to take the next step on your real estate journey. Let's dive into a specific area that captures a lot of attention. Flipping houses.
Ooh, flipping houses. That sounds glamorous, like something you see on HGTV. Buy a fixer-upper, transform it into a dream home, and boom, big profits, right?
Well, not quite. While flipping can definitely be profitable, those TV shows don't always show the whole picture. It takes a lot more than just a fresh coat of paint and some fancy staging.
Okay, so it's not as easy as they make it seem on TV. So what are some things our listeners should know if they're thinking about flipping houses?
I'd say the most important thing is to do your research. You really need to understand the market. You need to identify those areas where property values are on the rise. And you need to find those properties that you can buy at a price that allows for a decent profit margin after renovations.
So location is key, even for flipping. You're not just looking for a rundown house. You're looking for the right rundown house in the right neighborhood.
Exactly. And once you found a potential property, don't skimp on the inspection. You need to know what you're getting into. Hidden problems, structural issues, outdated plumbing or electrical systems, all of these things can really eat into your profits if you're not prepared.
So you're basically playing detective, trying to uncover any potential surprises that might be lurking beneath the surface.
Precisely. And you also need to be a skilled project manager. You're going to be coordinating contractors, managing budgets, and dealing with unexpected delays. It can be a lot to handle.
And let's not forget about the financial side of things. You've got to secure financing, whether it's a traditional mortgage or a specialized loan for those renovations. And while you're busy fixing up the property, you've got holding costs like property taxes, insurance, and utilities.
Right, those ongoing costs can add up. So it's important to factor them into your budget from the start.
It sounds like flipping houses is not for the faint of heart. It's a high-risk, high-reward kind of game.
It can be, but it can also be very rewarding if you're prepared and you know what you're doing. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit less intense, the Riqueza Vital video also mentioned micro remodels.
Micro remodels. That sounds intriguing. Is it like flipping but on a smaller scale?
Yeah, you could say that. Micro remodels are all about those strategic, cost-effective improvements that boost a property's value, but without having to undertake major renovations.
So instead of gutting an entire kitchen, you might just replace the countertops and give the cabinets a fresh coat of paint.
Exactly. Or maybe you update the bathroom fixtures, install new flooring, or even spruce up the landscaping. All of these smaller scale projects can make a big difference in a property's appeal and its market value.
It sounds like a great way to dip your toes into the renovation game without taking on a massive project. And I bet it's a popular strategy for those rental property owners too.
You're right. Micro remodels are a great way for landlords to increase rents or attract higher quality tenants. They can also be beneficial for homeowners who are planning to sell, just to make their property a bit more competitive in the market.
It's all about getting the most bang for your buck, whether you're renting or selling.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another important aspect of real estate investing, especially for rental properties: ongoing property management.
Ah, yes, the joys of being a landlord. Because, let's be real, it's not just about collecting those rent checks every month.
You got it. Effective property management involves a lot more than that. You're responsible for finding and screening tenants, handling maintenance and repairs, collecting rent, and ensuring the property is well maintained. It's a continuous process that requires time, attention, and sometimes a whole lot of patience.
So what are some key things our listeners should be aware of if they're thinking about becoming a landlord?
I think one of the most crucial aspects is finding reliable tenants. Thorough tenant screening is absolutely essential. Background checks, credit history, reviews, references, all of that can help to minimize the risk of problems down the road.
Because a bad tenant can be a real nightmare. Unpaid rent, property damage, even legal issues. No thanks.
Exactly. So it's worth taking the time to find those good tenants. Tenants who will treat your property with respect and pay their rent on time.
And then there's that ongoing maintenance. I imagine that can be a bit unpredictable.
Oh, you never know what might come up. A leaky roof, a broken appliance, a plumbing emergency. Being prepared to handle these issues promptly and efficiently is essential. It's how you keep your tenants happy. And it protects your investment.
So being a landlord is kind of like being on call 24/7, no rest for the wicked, huh?
It can feel that way sometimes. That's why many landlords choose to hire professional property management companies. They can handle all those responsibilities for you.
Ah, so there's an alternative for those who don't want to be dealing with late-night calls about a broken toilet.
Exactly. Property management companies can take care of everything. Tenant screening, rent collection, maintenance, repairs, even dealing with legal issues. And they also have expertise in local rental laws and regulations, which can be a huge help.
So it's like outsourcing the stress of being a landlord. Of course, it comes at a cost. But for many people, that peace of mind is worth it.
Right. It's all about weighing the pros and cons.
Yeah.
And figuring out what works best for your individual situation and your goals.
Speaking of goals, there's one more area we need to explore from the Riqueza Vital video: build to rent.
It's a fascinating and growing trend in the real estate market. So let's dive into that in our next segment.
Okay, so we've explored tons of different ways to invest in real estate, everything from flipping houses to becoming a landlord. But there's one more strategy from that Riqueza Vital video that I'm super curious about: build to rent. It sounds like you're creating your own rental empire from the ground up.
It is becoming more and more popular. Instead of building properties just to sell them, developers are constructing them specifically for renting.
Oh, wow. So instead of like condos or individual homes, we're talking apartment complexes or even entire communities designed for those renters.
Yeah, exactly. Makes sense when you think about the benefits. For developers, it creates that steady stream of income from rental payments. And for renters, it offers the appeal of brand new construction with all the latest and greatest amenities.
I can definitely see the appeal for renters there. It's like getting the best of both worlds. The flexibility of renting with the perks of living in a brand new place.
Right. And for investors, build-to-rent projects can be very attractive, provide consistent long-term income. And as that property value increases over time, there's that potential for appreciation as well.
So it's like owning a rental property, but on like a much grander scale.
You could say that, but with build-to-rent, you're not typically buying a single property. You're investing in a larger development, maybe partnering with a developer or investing in a REIT that specializes in these build-to-rent properties.
Okay, so this isn't something that you would just like tackle on your own, like flipping a house. It's more of a collaborative effort.
Yeah, precisely. It often requires more capital and a different level of expertise. But for those looking for a more hands-off approach to real estate investing with potentially strong returns, build-to-rent could be a great option.
We've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored different types of real estate investments, financing strategies, the ins and outs of being a landlord, even that exciting world of flipping houses. Listener, what stood out to you the most? What sparked your interest?
I want to leave you with this thought. That Riqueza Vital video gave us a great overview, but it's really just the tip of the iceberg. Your real estate journey starts now. Explore the area that really piqued your interest, whether it's REITs, flipping houses, or maybe even building your own rental empire. Do your research, maybe connect with some experienced investors, and remember, the more you learn, the more confident you'll be in making those investment decisions.
So true. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your finances. Keep learning, keep exploring, and who knows, maybe one day you'll be sharing your own real estate wisdom with the world. Until then, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And don't forget to subscribe for more insightful adventures into the world of knowledge. Catch you next time.